wake of Pitch Perfect 2's groundbreaking release weekend, Rebel Wilson was caught in one of these very old-fashioned age scandals. According to one of Wilson's high school classmates speaking anonymously to an Australian tabloid, Wilson had been lying about her age, her name, her upbringing, and her family's class. Those claims were amplified across the Australian and international press and social media, which began a tirade to know the real Rebel Wilson. On May 18, 2015, Wilson addressed the rumors via Twitter, joking, "Oh my god, I'm actually an 100-year-old mermaid, formerly known as CC Chalice. Thanks, shady Australian press, for your tall poppy syndrome." In the aftermath, investigations into business and voting records did show that Wilson's legal name is actually Melanie Elizabeth Bounds. She's not 29 as previously claimed on her IMDb page, but actually 35, born March 2nd of 1980. Rebel's fans maintained her lives weren't actually that abnormal or horrendous, with one Reddit user even pointing out that being 30 in Pitch Perfect isn't that strange, seeing as, quote, Anna Camp, Esther Dean, Adam Devine, etc. aren't that far behind her and were also playing college students as well. Ironically, Ben Platt was the only cast member who was 18 playing a 19-year-old. While some celebs are outed by former classmates, some like Constance Wu are outed by, well, their fans just not believing what they say about their age. Because when Fresh Off the Boat first came out and it gave Wu her big break, she pretended to be in her early 20s and even did interviews all like, "LOL, I'm playing a mom of teens and yet I'm so young," but her own beloved fans didn't buy it, especially upon the release of the movie Hustlers. It sparked rumors and theories online that she was faking her age. In February 2015 interview with Glamour, trying to prompt an age answer from the actress, Wu was asked about what her on-screen husband, Randall Park, who was 40, was like compared to her alleged 26. Constant Wu's response was to brazenly joke that he was immature while she was mature, and it made them feel like they were the same age. When the interviewer pressed further, suggesting Constance wasn't actually old enough to have birthed her on-screen kids, the actress countered that biologically she was. In an interview the following year, 2016, Vulture set things right. In it, Wu is asked whether she's actually 26 like she had been claiming, or as the media had been reporting, was she 34. Wu claimed she was 34 and explained not correcting anyone previously by saying, "I think originally on Wikipedia it listed my age incorrectly. There's a lot of ageism in the industry, so when people would talk about it, I just wouldn't correct them." While these two leading ladies lied downwards, some lie upwards about their age, like a young Lawrence Fishburne. He is the OG of lying about your age to nab a role actor. Lawrence was only 14 when he cold-faced lied to Francis Ford Coppola himself about being 16 to play the 17-year-old character Tyrone Clean Miller in the legendary 1976 film Apocalypse Now. Fishburne explained in 2013 interview he was not fooling producer Fred Roos, though who he says knew him from a different project he had done when he was younger. So needless to say, the casting team wasn't entirely sure if he looked as old as he claimed to be, so they needed an extra set of eyes. To quote Fishburne, "A young woman who was working in the offices, a secretary, got up and walked through the room," he said. "And as she was walking, Francis finally spoke up, and he just looked at her and said, 'Excuse me, you think this kid could be 18?' And whoever this woman was, she turned around, looked at me and went, 'Yeah.'" With the validation of an unaffiliated third party, Fishburne got the part, and although he was 14 when shooting began, he was 18 years old by the time the movie was released in theaters. However, his true age of 14 was actually confirmed to the entirety of cast during the filming of a specific scene where he had to talk about his love of Playboy magazines, and he fumbled through it. Caught aging himself down as the man who'd normally never fumble, that's Eminem. And there's quite a few age slip-ups from this rapper. Once on Howard Stern's radio show in 1999, Eminem claimed to be 24. However, he was actually 27. On some tracks from TES and MMLP, he says his age, but it's always 2 years less than what it actually is. That, and in TES, a Square One Stance lyric dropped is, "I'm 28, they gonna take you for they take me." Also, there's a video of Eminem celebrating his birthday on stage in 2002, and it says, "Happy 26th birthday." So a lot of confusion, but why did Eminem lie? Same reason as many celebrities, it's competition. There were a lot of young men in hip-hop when Eminem was pushing himself out there, and the internet was just getting big, so it's not like anyone was gonna fact check him, at least for not a long time. So Eminem often subtracted 2 to 4 years from his stage age, which he later admitted in an interview after it was found out because his mother released his birth certificate as part of that period of time where she was harassing him like crazy. So Jerry Halliwell lied due to competitive reasons as well, as she was part of the girl group the Spice Girls during an era of utter girl group competition. Jerry was known as Ginger Spice and told the press she was 21 fun to match herself up with the ages of her bandmates and not throw off the public perception of, women being perceived as old in the industry earlier than anyone else. However, it was her own homegirl who did her in. A fellow band member, Victoria, aka Posh Spice, let slip an interview. Halliwell is older than 21, but never specified how much older, which sent the internet into a frenzy of speculation and gossip. At Fuel to the Fire, Melanie Brown has also claimed since Halliwell has lied about her age for decades and said no one knows how old she is. She even revealed her friend always kept her passport close to her chest when they were on tour as the Spice Girls. Scary Spice admitted she doesn't believe Ginger Spice was born in 1972, despite even celebrating her 50th birthday with her celebrity friend. Speaking of pop queens lying about their age, one for my Irish viewers, Nadine Cole. So, the Girls Aloud band member was on a show called Pop Stars, where she lied about her age in order to compete in the talent show. In a hilarious clip, it was revealed that Nadine had been lying about her age and was just 16, which is 2 years younger than the minimum age requirement of 18 for that Irish show. So the clip shows her panicking on camera when confronted about her age. She starts digging through her purse for a birth certificate or a passport she knows she won't find. She starts awkwardly calling her mom, asking where her passport is. It's a bit of social media history in Ireland apparently, and highly memed in reference there as well. Nadine Cole was disqualified from the competition and sent back home to Derry, but Lewis Walsh later encouraged her to enter the UK version of the show, Pop Stars The Rivals, the following year, and she actually has since had a career. Nicola Colin actually accredited the iconic clip to how she learned how to do her Derry girl's accent while in an interview with Graham Norton. To quote Sandra Bullock, "After a while, you have no idea how old you are because you've lied so many times." She said that back in an interview with Detour in 1993, but before that interview and after, the actress has lied about her age almost endlessly. Old or younger really doesn't matter to Sandy, who uses lying about her age and keeping its true number a secret as a tactic to land roles that she feels she truly desires. So Bullock confessed in 1992 that she lied about her age to get cast in The Love Potion No. 9. The part of the biologist Diane Farrow called for a 29-year-old actress, but she was actually younger at the time. The multi-award winning actor was told by Barbara Walters that it would be wise to tell a white lie, so she convinced everyone she was 29 to get the role. Laverne Cox opened up about her struggle with aging in a similar fashion. The actress has formally claimed to be born in 1982, when it was actually 1972. Now reminder, Laverne did start off in the drag world, where it's actually really normal for performers to shave off like 10 years or more, but she carried on lying about her age after having a man break up with her when she was 28 for being too old. Worried about castability and desirability, Laverne lied about her age as she made her big break in Orange is the New Black, a show that would accidentally help reveal her true age. See, Laverne's twin brother plays her character pre-gender transition in the show, and when fans went to Google if that fact was true, yo, that's so cool, they find his IMDb, which has his real age listed. And seeing as Laverne and her brother are fraternal twins, the fact that her age was listed 10 years after his on IMDb didn't make much sense. So then on the Ellen show, she's called out and she says, IMDb found out my real age, so it started appearing places, and it was freaking me out. I was having such anxiety, so I started talking to my therapist about it. I started unpacking all the stories I had about being older, and the stories were all like, I wasn't hireable, I wasn't dateable, I wasn't effable, and then I just worked through all that. On a somewhat funnier note, Chris Brown's age was revealed when he was trying to win love from the Astrology girlies, so he posted his full astro circle chart to his Instagram story. Brown, however, is only smart enough to remove his birth date from his birth chart, meaning one eagle-eye Instagram user who studied astrology called him out in the comments, writing, if this chart is true, hey Chris Brown, you're 4 years older than what you actually claim. Turns out his Saturn was in the late degree of Scorpio, and his Pluto was in an early degree of Scorpion. Add that together, and his stars were in Liar Liar Pants on Fire. So Chris Brown's birthday was revealed to be May 1985, not 89, and as a result he blocked the first astrologer to call him out in the comments and then deleted all of his star charts and refuses to address this. Mariah Carey, for her part, told Complex in 2016 she just doesn't even believe in having a birthday. Mariah Carey's true birth year has long been debated in the press and social media, with evidence supporting both 1969 and 1970 as the correct answer. With that little difference, it really doesn't matter, and it seems Mariah shares my opinion, as she herself is quoted to have said she really just wants to remain eternally oblivious to age. To quote her, I was just dropped here. It was a fairyland experience, she said in 2016. 3 years later, the singer maintained that she doesn't believe in aging, saying to an interview, I don't get this 10-year challenge. Time is not something I acknowledge. She also captioned 2 similar photos of herself in January 2019 after a social media transformation went viral, picture taken at some point prior to today.
Number 10. Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe is the gladiator Mac Maximus to many people, a role he portrayed in the 2000 movie Gladiator. It was a commanding and brutal performance from Crowe, astonishing crowds worldwide and creating a massive buzz for what this man could do next. In Gladiator, Crowe was tough and built like a brick house, but as time went on, those bricks turned to rubble as Crowe began appearing more and more with what can only be described as the daddest of bods, growing a big lumberjack beard and gut to go with it. This change was emphasized in Thor: Love and Thunder, released in 2022, where Crowe played the god Zeus, and instead of appearing as he does in lore as this massive muscular lightning guy, he just looked like someone's dad dressed up for a frat party that he was not invited to. Number 9. Madonna. Madonna has surely gotten stuck in your head before, with classic radio hits like Material Girls and Crazy for You still being played at dance clubs worldwide. What may have also gotten stuck in your head was just how gorgeous this woman once was. In the 80s, Madonna was well known for her stylish duds and big blonde hair, and at times almost channeling Marilyn Monroe's energy. It was unfortunate then that Madonna felt the need to fall into the world of plastic surgery and injections as she got older. Photo comparisons from the 80s to now showcase these major changes, with her forehead appearing to be pushed out, as well as her cheeks and her lips being filled with enough Botox to give her the appearance of someone wearing a silicone mask of Madonna over their own face. We can only imagine what she may have looked like if she had not undergone the surgery. Would she still be a material girl, or would that material be covered in fluids only visible with a black light? We'll never know. Number 8. Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is a madman in the world of Hollywood. His career was on a steady streak of wins since starring as the most misunderstood barber in the town, Edward Scissorhands, in 1990. He got his first big break in A Nightmare on Elm Street, but we can all agree that Edward was the first time that we were like, hey, who's that guy? Unfortunately, fame has taken its toll on Johnny both physically and mentally. While the majority of this list will be people who have only aged poorly, on the outside, Johnny has been going downhill over the past few years thanks to a very public lawsuit between himself and his ex-wife Amber Heard. They spent almost a month in court with hours and hours of footage being shared to the world for all of us to enjoy and debate. In the end, Johnny won that case, proving that Amber had in fact fabricated several of the situations that she had been claiming in her 2018 op-ed. While there was most certainly more to this story and there is no way Johnny is completely innocent, the stress of the situation seemed to take a toll on Johnny. The once soft-faced, calm, cool, and collected Depp now resembled his Pirates of the Caribbean's character more than ever. So, hey Disney, how about we save some money and get that 6th movie going? Pirates of the Caribbean, huh? Lost in a courtroom? Number 7. Macaulay Culkin. Culkin broke our hearts when he made his first on-screen appearance as Lil Thomas in the movie My Girl, and he continued to entertain us over the next few years, being a part of blockbuster hits like Home Alone and Richie Rich. His career seemed to be on an upward climb, ensuring that he would have work well into his adult years. It turns out that life had other plans for Macaulay. Between the years of 2003 and 2019, Culkin has remained fairly reserved in the Hollywood eye, appearing only in low-budget passion projects or straight-to-video films. It may have been because the once young and fresh Culkin had now been in his early 20s and he was not playing by the rules. A mugshot of Macaulay made headlines in 2004 when he was arrested for possession of a controlled substance without a prescription, following a routine inspection of his vehicle. Rumors of Culkin's substance issues arose as the actor was later seen appearing frail and as if he hadn't eaten in weeks. Many were concerned for Culkin's health, but he later revealed in an interview in 2021 that he had finally gotten a hold of his issues and he was on track to recovery. So, right on, Lil Mac. Number 6. Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay was once a young Disney darling, appearing in several timeless classics over the years. Following her role in The Parent Trap, her career only seemed to rise. Unfortunately, her career took a step in the wrong direction when she was arrested in 2007 for driving under the influence of a controlled substance, for which she only spent 84 minutes in jail. Yes, I said that, minutes. Lindsay gets a warning. Most people get life. As the mugshots began to release, it was clear that Lindsay was slowly chipping away at herself. She began looking sickly and pale, and it's obvious that after a couple of years she had some kind of work done to herself. Well, that really didn't help the situation. Thanks to her time in jail and multiple incidents caught on camera, her career came to an abrupt standstill. Now the young child actor that we loved growing up is hidden behind the thickest layer of silicone. Number 5. Joe Pesci. Now when you see Joe's face, you certainly recoil and cringe in fear because, hey, that's the guy who tried to break into Kevin's house in Home Alone. Since the early 1980s, this man has been in everything. Joe Joe's career is one filled with one movie from every genre. This guy was a mob man, a home invader, a Popeye-esque fisherman, and he was cousin frickin' Vinny. What's funny about Joe is that he aged poorly, but he's looked the same since the 1980s. He may just look like a little younger in his Home Alone days, but Joe seems to be suffering from some type of a Benjamin Button syndrome. Now, if you don't know what that is, that's fair. Who has 3 hours to watch that movie? Basically, I'm saying he was born looking like an old man. While in Benjamin Button, Brad Pitt looks younger with age, it's almost like that part does not apply to Joe, and he just looks old all the time. His age has not stopped him from making waves in the acting world, though, as he is set to star in a TV series alongside Saturday Night Live alumni Pete Davidson in a show called Botched that has so far received incredible reviews. So who knows, maybe we'll get a Home Alone reunion in a couple years. You know, we've all been waiting for it. Number 4, Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer made his name a staple when he starred in the beloved classic fantasy film Willow as Mad Mardigan, a swordsman who spends the movie protecting a little baby from evil forces. Personally, he made a staple in my head as the Batman that beat up Jim Carrey, but we'll get into that another time. Over the years, Kilmer has aged gracefully, being the leading man type over and over again, seemingly casted because of his looks over his acting chops, which many consider to be a little stiff. Well, much like Mickey Rourke, Kilmer's roles began to shift from leading strongman to the dark and silent guy, and I mean, just look at his headshot. He looks like an evil scientist trying to invite you into his mansion to show you his collection of animal skulls. Honestly, I'd watch that movie. That sounds kind of cool. Number 3, Cher. Ever since rising to the fame in the 1960s, Cher has been absolutely slaying it in the world of pop music, rocking her own solo career and collaborating with several musicians over the years. Her style and voice will definitely not be a stranger to you, unless of course you have seen her lately. Now, don't get me wrong, she's absolutely stunning and she's put in a lot of work to stay healthy and happy. But over the years, Cher has been open about having numerous amounts of surgeries, including lip fillers and receiving Botox in her cheeks, leaving her in a constant state of just like, what's happening? Despite having a negative experience with her surgeries, reportedly even receiving a certain augmentation that went horribly wrong, she still continues to undergo the knife to this day. For all we know, she could be under it right now. Ooh. Number 2, Dolly Parton. Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. Sounds very relaxing. It's nice. Dolly is a jack of all trades. She may have risen to fame thanks to her musical chops, but nowadays she works as a philanthropist and a businesswoman. If you want proof that she's more than music, just go visit her theme park in Tennessee. It's called Dollywood, and it's something. While Dolly may not be busy in the world of music these days, she has been changing the world in other ways. Her Dollywood Park was meant to be the start of a foundation, but it morphed into a program that distributes books to children across the world, from their first books to their college textbooks. Now that is saving the world. Those things are so expensive and you only need it for like 1 semester. Sorry, I'm getting off track. Her voice makes us all swoon, and we have no doubt that she could easily take our man. But once that man gets a good look at her, that feeling might change. Unfortunately, Dolly is one of the many celebrities who underwent lots of surgery to augment her face. As she got older, her face became more and more stiff. Unfortunately, she's done a ton of things to yank her face backwards and taken her natural beauty and just like pulled it back and stapled it. Number 1, Mickey Rourke. The big man Mickey Rourke has been a prolific actor for quite some time, making his major motion debut in the 1986 romantic drama 9.5 Weeks Later as John Gray, a Wall Street trader who falls for an art gallery assistant, and the situation escalates very quickly. Back in the day, he was cast as this handsome leading man, or the heartthrob for the most part, but since receiving massive amounts of plastic surgery and lip fillers in the early 2000s, he looks more like a clay model of his former self, admitting in 2017 that his ever-changing face was due to botched surgeries conducted to mend his boxing scars. Now, I don't know a ton about boxing, but I no longer intend to. He's since appeared in such blockbusters like Iron Man 2 as the villain, and Sin City as a scarred up trench coat wearing bad guy named Marv. Far from the soft-faced Mickey that your parents probably had a poster on their wall of.
Number 10, Macaulay Culkin. Macaulay Culkin broke our hearts when he made his first on-screen appearance as Lil Thomas in the movie My Girl, and continued to entertain us over the next few years, being a part of blockbuster hits like the Home Alone franchise and Richie Rich. His career seemed to be on an upward climb, ensuring he would have worked well into his adult years. Turns out life had other plans for Macaulay. Between the years 2003 and 2019, Culkin had remained fairly reserved in the Hollywood eye, appearing only in low-budget passion projects or straight-to-video films. It may have been because the once young and fresh Culkin was now in his early 20s and was not playing by the rules. A mugshot Culkin made headlines in 2004 when he was arrested for possession of a controlled substance without a prescription following a routing inspection of his vehicle. Rumors of Culkin's substance issues arose as the actor was later seen appearing frail and as if he hadn't eaten in weeks. Many were concerned for Culkin's health, but he later revealed in an interview in 2021 that he had finally gotten a hold of his issues and was on the track to recovery. Number 9. Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay is a Disney star who actually never appeared in a sitcom or TV series. She actually got her start acting at just the age of 3, starring in over 60 TV spots and commercials for brands like Gap, Zaha, and Jell-O. She got her big break when Disney casted her to play 2 roles in the classic family comedy The Parent Trap. She played twin sisters Hallie Parker and Annie James, who randomly meet at summer camp and discover their parents split them up when they were babies following a divorce. The twins then hatch a plot to get the mom and dad back together, and it is delightful. Now her career only seemed to rise from there, starring in several cult classics like Freaky Friday with Jamie Lee Curtis and Mean Girls as the main character, Katie Heron. Unfortunately, her career took a step in the wrong direction when she was arrested in 2007 for driving under the influence of a controlled substance, for which she served 84 minutes in jail. Yeah, minutes. Some people spend years in jail, but Lindsay got a warning. Now until 2022, her career was at an abrupt standstill, and Lindsay decided to take the time to make some cosmetic adjustments. She got some work done for herself, and the little Lindsay we grew up with is now trapped behind a thin layer of silicone. Number 8. Dolly Parton. Dolly is a jack of all trades. She may have risen to fame thanks to her musical chops, but nowadays she works as a philanthropist and a businesswoman. If you want proof that she's more than just music, go visit her theme park in Tennessee. It's called Dollywood, and it is iconic. While Dolly may not be as busy in the world of music nowadays, she has been changing the world in other ways. Her Dolly Park was meant to be the start of a foundation, but morphed into a program that distributes books to children. Now her voice makes us all swoon, and we have no doubt she could easily take our man, but her looks aren't what they used to be. Unfortunately, Dolly is one of the many celebrities who underwent surgery to augment her facial features. As she got older, her face became more and more stiff, and unfortunately she's done a ton of things to her face that have taken her natural beauty away. Number 7. Madonna. Madonna has surely gotten stuck in your head before, with classic radio hits like Material Girl and Crazy For You still being played at dance clubs worldwide. What may have also been stuck in your head was just how gorgeous this woman once was. In the 80s, Madonna was well known for her stylish outfits and big blonde hair at times. It was unfortunate that Madonna felt the need to fall into the world of plastic surgery and injections as she got older. Photo comparisons from the 80s to now showcase these major changes, with her forehead appearing to be pushed out, as well as her cheeks and her lips being filled with enough Botox to give her the appearance of someone wearing a silicone mask of Madonna over their own face. We can only imagine what she may have looked like if she had not undergone the surgery. Would she still be a material girl, or would that material be moth-ridden and covered in coffee stains? Who knows? Number 6. Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is a madman in the world of Hollywood. His career was on a steady streak of wins since starring as the most misunderstood barber, Edward Scissorhands, in 1990. He got his first break in A Nightmare on Elm Street, but we can all agree Edward was the first time we were really like, who is this guy? Unfortunately, fame has taken its toll on Johnny both physically and mentally. While the majority of this list will be people who have only aged poorly physically, Johnny has been going downhill over the past few years thanks to a very public lawsuit between himself and his ex-wife Amber Heard. They spent almost a month in court with hours and hours of footage being shared to the world for all of us to enjoy and debate. In the end, Johnny won the case, proving that Amber had in fact fabricated several of the situations she had been claiming in her 2018 op-ed. While there was most certainly more to the story, and there is no way Johnny is completely innocent, the stress of the situation seemed to take its toll on Johnny. The once soft-faced, calm, cool, and collected Depp is just straight up ugly, while it appears that Amber Heard is glowing in a different country. Number 5. Elizabeth Moss. Alright, before I start this entry, let me just say this woman is a wonderful actor, and I am in no way trying to get her cancelled. I just have a little bit of inside info that you get to know for being a part of this awesome channel. Elizabeth has cemented herself as a force to be reckoned with, making shows like Mad Men and The Handmaid's Tale her babies. She really caught the world's attention when she starred in one of the last movies to be released in theaters before the world closed in 2020. The Invisible Man was a perfect example of Elizabeth's being able to deliver a fearful and manic performance for all of us to enjoy, while her method for getting that mindset is apparently a little messy. According to on-set sources, Elizabeth is avid consumer of the no-no snow. Apparently she just loves this stuff and is known to have a little sugar shot to get her going for the more wild scenes. Unfortunately, as anyone who consumes this stuff knows, it takes a physical toll on the body. As the years have gone by, her eyes have become more and more sunken and red, and not to mention she's a part of Scientology, but I'll just leave that there. Number 4. Mickey Rourke. The big man Mickey Rourke has been a prolific actor for quite some time, making his major motion debut in the 1986 romantic drama 9.5 Weeks Later as John Gray, a Wall Street trader who falls for an art gallery assistant and escalates that situation quickly. Back in the day, he was cast as the handsome leading man, or heartthrob for the most part, but since receiving massive amounts of plastic surgery and lip filler in the early 2000s, he looks more like a clay model of his former self, admitting in 2017 that his ever-changing face was due to botched surgeries conducted to mend his boxing scars. I don't know much about boxing, and I no longer intend to. He's since appeared in such blockbuster hits as Iron Man 2 as the villain Whiplash, and Sin City as a scared up trench coat wearing bad boy Marv. From the soft-faced Mickey your parents once probably had a poster of on their wall. Number 3. Cher. Ever since rising to fame in the 1960s, Cher has been absolutely slaying it in the world of pop music. Rocking her own solo career and collaborating with several musicians over the years, her style and voice will definitely not be a stranger to you, unless of course you've seen her lately. Now don't get me wrong, she's absolutely stunning and has put in a lot of work to stay healthy and happy in her personal life, but over the years Cher has been open about having numerous surgeries she's had done. These include lip fillers and receiving Botox in her cheeks, leaving her in a constant state of Despite having a negative experience with her surgeries, reportedly even receiving a certain augmentation that went horribly wrong, she still continues to go under the knife to this day. I mean, for all we know, she could be under right now. Whoa. Number 2. Keith Richards. Keith has been one of the key members of the British rock group The Rolling Stones since co-founding the crew with his longtime partner Mick Jagger in 1962. As you can imagine, the wild world of rock and roll has taken its toll on a lot of people, and we could literally make a series of musicians that look rough now, but we'll save that for another day. In a recent interview for Fox News, Keith went into more detail about his past and what made him look like the melted ice cream pop version of himself he is today. According to Richards, between 1960 and 70, himself and his late partner Anita Pallenberg were deep into a substance control problem involving a substance that I refer to as spicy spoon juice. If you know, you know, and if you don't, good, keep it that way. The addiction caused Richards and Anita's relationship to shift as Richards wanted to quit while Anita was unwilling or unable to. The stress of the relationship, which was mostly cheating on both parts, combined with the heavy substance use, left Richards looking more and more disheveled by the day. One day he was able to kick both Anita and the bad habit, but unfortunately the rock and roll took its toll on old Richards. And coming in at number 1 is Joe Pesci. When you see Joe's face, you certainly recoil and cringe and fear because he's the guy who tried to break into Kevin's house in Home Alone. Since the early 1980s, this man has been in everything. Joe's career is one filled with one movie from every genre. This guy was a mob man, a home invader, a Popeye-esque fisherman, and cousin frickin' Vinny. What's funny about Joe is that he aged poorly, but he's looked the same since the 80s. He may just look a little younger in his Home Alone days, but Joe seems to be suffering from some type of Benjamin Button syndrome, and if you don't know what that is, that's fair. Who has 3 hours to watch that? Basically, I'm saying he was born looking like an old man. While in Benjamin Button, Brad Pitt looks younger with age, it's almost like that part doesn't apply to Joe and he just looks old all the time. His age has not stopped him from making waves in the acting world, however, and he is set to star in the TV series alongside Saturday Night alumni Pete Davidson in the new show called Bumkiss that has received incredible reviews so far. So who knows, maybe we'll get that Home Alone reunion we've all been waiting for.
Number 10. Mia Jovovich. The action star best known for her role as Alice in the much debated Resident Evil series is arguably one of the most gorgeous zombie slayers of all time. First stunning audiences with her beauty in the film The Fifth Element as Lilu, who it turns out, spoiler alert, is the Fifth Element. Mind blown. The image of a bright orange-haired alien beauty has been burned into the memory of anyone who has seen that movie, which is why it's quite jarring to see her on the street nowadays. A photo was recently captured by paparazzi showing Mia with a punk rock buzz cut and cut jean shorts. Now while this may just be a temporary hairstyle, this is far from the Mia that we're used to seeing on screen. I mean, look at that. It looks like she saw someone mowing their lawn and was like, hey, could you take a little off the top, please? We hope that as time goes on, Mia will regress back into her Lilu days. Lilu. Number 9, Zac Efron. The former Disney Channel star has been considered a Hollywood hottie for most of his career, starring in many films like Neighbors, Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, and even trying his hand at more serious roles with movies like Charlie St. Cloud and Gold. While Zac was aging gracefully for the most part, many fans started speculating that he may have received some kind of facial reconstructive surgery following an appearance on Bill Nye's Earth Day musical on Facebook, where fans claimed that he looked like he had just been stung by a bee or something. Well, after a year of speculation, it turned out that there was some truth to that theory. You see, he hadn't undergone surgery. In fact, the actor's facial differences were due to a jaw injury he had sustained in 2013. Zac broke his jaw and had to have his mouth wired shut after he was running through his house with socks on, slipped, and went face first into a granite fountain. Hey man, we've all been there. Apparently, he had been undergoing physical therapy for the incident for quite some time, but had recently stopped going, which caused his face to kind of puff up. This doesn't help the situation, however, as Efron was recently spotted on set for a new biographical film called The Iron Claw, in which he plays the titular wrestler. For this role, Efron bulked up significantly, now making the rest of him look like he was stung by a hornet, and is sporting a haircut reminiscent of Friar Tuck in Robin Hood. Hopefully the movie will be so good that it's worth that bowl cut. Number 8, Madonna. Madonna has surely gotten stuck in your head before, with classic radio hits like Material Girls and Crazy for You still being played at dance clubs worldwide. Now, what may have also gotten stuck in your head was just how gorgeous this woman once was. In the 80s, Madonna was well known for her stylish duds and big blonde hair, at times almost channeling Marilyn Monroe's energy. It was unfortunate then that Madonna felt the need to fall into the world of plastic surgery and injections as she got older. Photo comparisons from the 80s to now showcase these major changes, with her forehead appearing to be pushed out as well as her cheeks and her lips being filled with enough Botox to give her the appearance of someone wearing a silicone mask of Madonna over their own face. We can only imagine what she may have looked like if she had not gone to surgery, but would she still be a material girl, or would that material be moth-ridden and covered in coffee stains? Who knows? Number 7, Macaulay Culkin. Culkin broke our hearts when he made his first on-screen appearance as Little Thomas in the movie My Girl, and he continued to entertain us over the next few years, being a part of blockbuster hits like the Home Alone franchise and Richie Rich. His career seemed to be on an upward climb, ensuring that he would have work well into his adult years, but it turns out that life had other plans for Macaulay. Between the years of 2003 to 2019, Culkin had remained fairly reserved in the Hollywood eye, only appearing in a few low-budget passion projects or straight-to-video films. It may have been because the once young and fresh Culkin was now in his early 20s and he was not playing by the rules. A mugshot of Culkin made headlines in 2004 when he was arrested for possessions of a controlled substance without a prescription, following a routine inspection of his vehicle. Rumors of Culkin's substance issues arose as the actor was later seen appearing frail and as if he hadn't eaten in weeks. Many people were concerned for Culkin's health, but he later revealed in an interview in 2021 that he'd finally gotten a hold of his issues and he was on track to recovery and looking much better. Right on, Lil Mac. Number 6, Mickey Rourke. The big man, Mickey Rourke, has been a prolific actor for quite some time, making his major motion debut in the 1986 romantic drama 9.5 Weeks Later as John Gray, a Wall Street trader who falls for an art gallery assistant and escalates that situation very quickly. Back in the day, he was cast as the handsome leading man or heartthrob for the most part, but since receiving massive amounts of plastic surgery and lip fillers in the early 2000s, he looks more like a clay model of his former self, admitting in 2017 that his ever-changing face was due to botched surgeries conducted to mend his boxing scars. I don't know much about boxing and I no longer intend to. He's since appeared in such blockbuster hits like Iron Man 2 as the villain Whiplash and Sin City as a scarred up trenchcoat wearing bad boy named Marv. So it's far from the soft-faced Mickey that your parents once probably had a poster of on their wall. I didn't. What? Stop talking. Next, number 5, Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer made his name a staple when he starred in the beloved classic fantasy film Willow as Matt Mardigan, a swordsman who spends the movie protecting the titular baby from evil forces. Personally, he made a staple in my head as being the Batman that beat up Jim Carrey, but we won't get into that. Over the years, Kilmer has aged gracefully, being the leading man type over and over again, seemingly casted because of his looks over his acting chops, which many consider to be stiff. Well, much like Mickey Rourke, Kilmer's roles began to shift from leading strong type to the dark and silent bad guy. I mean, just look at this headshot. He looks like an evil scientist trying to invite you into his mansion to show you his collection of animal skulls. Honestly, I think I'd watch that movie. Number 4, Cher. Ever since rising to fame in the 1960s, Cher has been absolutely slaying it in the world of pop music, rocking her own solo career and collaborating with several musicians over the years. Her style and voice will definitely not be a stranger to you, unless of course you've seen her lately. Now, don't get me wrong, she's absolutely stunning and has put in a lot of work to stay healthy and happy in her personal life, but over the years, Cher has been open about having numerous amounts of surgeries done, including lip fillers, receiving Botox in her cheeks, leaving her in a constant state of, really? Despite having negative experiences with her surgeries, reportedly even receiving a certain augmentation that went horribly wrong, she still continues to undergo the knife to this day. For all we know, she might be under right now. Whoa. Number 3. Celine Dion. Celine Dion is just one of many Canadian treasures that have been unleashed on this world. Growing up in Charlemagne, Quebec, Dion began performing at a very young age and quickly garnered international fame for her incredible voice and her larger-than-life performance style. With legendary hits like My Heart Will Go On from the film Titanic and the song Beauty and the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, Celine is sure to have been rattling around in your head at least a few times over the years. Unfortunately, the once youthful and larger-than-life performer has not aged well over the years. While she has never received plastic surgery of any kind, you go girl, the latest photos show Celine appearing to be void of any body fat whatsoever, causing her to appear almost skeletal sometimes. We hope that this is simply a case of age ruling its ugly head and not something more serious. Good luck, Celine. Number 2. David Krumholtz. David's face may be familiar to many of you as Bernard the Elf from the Santa Claus franchise. David has been acting for quite some time though, making appearances over the years in shows like Freaks and Geeks and Mom. He's also familiar to many for his more raunchy performances, working in films like Harold and Kumar as well as several collaborations with Seth Rogen. In his youth, Krumholtz was often typecast as the young, squishy-faced good guy with a little bit of a bad boy streak. Unfortunately, as time went on, the actor appeared to be struggling with his weight, appearing to gain and lose it very rapidly. For example, in the HBO series The Deuce, David plays a character named Harvey Wasserman, who in season 1 weighed just over 300 pounds, but when he appeared in season 2's premiere, he weighed just barely 100 pounds. Now this constant back and forth shift cannot be healthy for anybody. As seen in recent photos, it looks like this back and forth is seriously starting to take a toll on the Deuce. Number 1. Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe is the Gladiator Maximus to many people, a role that he portrayed in the 2000 film Gladiator. It was a commanding and brutal performance from Crowe, astonishing crowds worldwide and creating a massive buzz for what this man might do next. In Gladiator, Crowe was tough and built like a brick house. As time went on, those bricks seemed to be turning into rubble, because Crowe began appearing more and more with what we can only describe as the daddest of bods, growing a big lumberjack beard and gut to go with it. This change was emphasized in Thor Love and Thunder, released in 2022, when Crowe played the god Zeus, and instead of appearing as he does in lore as a massive, muscular lightning god, he just looks like someone's dad dressed up for a frat party that he was not invited to.
At number 10, we have Mila Kunis. Mila Kunis is now 39 years old. However, when she was an actor, she auditioned for That 70s Show and she was only 14 at the time and actually quite not old enough to land the role as Jackie Burkhart. The role would end up launching her career after she fudged the truth just to make it seem like she was older than she actually was at the time. In 2012, Mila would make an appearance on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, where she would confess to the lie by saying, "I told them I was a little bit older. I told them I was going to be 18, which is technically not a lie because at one point I was going to be 18. What's surprising is that the producers never even asked for ID to back up her age, as she did look pretty young. Luckily for Mila, it was a good thing that she told a lie, because not only would she get the gig, but she would end up meeting her future husband and father of her children, Ashton Kutcher, on the set. However, her being 14 on the set was actually pretty disturbing, and you have to admit that. And number 9, Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock has admitted to lying about her age just to snag some roles. In 1992, she wanted to get a part in Love Potion 9 so badly that she pretended to be older than she actually was. At the time, she was only around 27, 28 years old, but the producers wanted someone who was 29 years old. Sandra would then tell Barbara Walters that it would be wise to tell a white lie so she could convince everyone she was 29 years old. And that hasn't been the only time Sandra has used a lie to cover cover up her real age. Sandra even told Detour magazine that after a while, you really have no idea how old you are because you've lied so many times. I've always said I would never lie, but one time when I didn't, it worked against me, so I figured you just keep them guessing. Like plenty of actors before her, Sandra continues to lie about her age to stay afloat, and I mean, you have to do what you have to do, but are the lies seriously worth it? Hey Peaches, are you enjoying this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And number 8, Jessica Chastain. Jessica Chastain is one of those elusive actors whose true age is unknown, and people have even claimed that her age shown on Wikipedia and her IMDb is actually incorrect. It is said to believe that the actor is 45 years old. However, Jessica hasn't outright lied about her age, but she hasn't been so forthcoming about it either. For some time, her age has remained a mystery to the public. In 2013, she would sit down for an interview with Guardian where she would say that she deliberately doesn't talk about her age and that she would never admit her real age because she is an actress that wants to play a range of characters of different ages. It's clear that the actress doesn't want her age to be affected by the roles she wants, so I guess we'll never know how old she really is, and we're just gonna have to keep guessing until she finally comes out to tell us all the truth. And number 7, Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj was able to lie about her age and keep us under the illusion that she was actually 2 years older than what she led us to believe. Nicki's lie would then be exposed amid another conflict, while the rapper led us all to believe over the years that she was born in 1984. Her attempt to be only 2 years younger would be shattered after she got into an altercation back in 2011. While all of us were baffled at the fact someone would only want to shave 2 years off of their age, a report would later surface after the incident that would reveal Nicki was actually born in 1982 and not 1984. So take this as a lesson to be learned that lying about your age could eventually get you exposed, so maybe opt to tell the truth instead. And number 6, Rebel Wilson. Rebel Wilson is a renowned comedian, writer, and actor. However, she apparently lied about her age. In 2015, an Australian magazine would go on to claim that the Aussie actor had misled the world about her life and stated that her birth name, age, and upbringing were all just one massive lie. The publication alleged that Wilson incorrectly stated that she was 29 and that Rebel was actually 42, meaning that she would have been in her mid-30s in 2015. The story pretty much contradicted the actor's story, claiming that she had a different upbringing and called her out on her age. The story soon caught international attention, and some publications would even go on to confirm the actor's real age. Rebel would then take the publisher to court, suing them for defamation. She denied claiming that she had been 29 and said all she ever tried to do was divert questions about her. Rebel would then be awarded $4,005,000 in damages, and the company appealed and got it reduced to $600,000. Rebel would then try to launch a counter appeal, but then that got rejected. And number 5, Nelly. Taking it all the way back to 2003, Nelly would be named one of Teen People's hottest stars under 25. However, the world would soon find out later that he shouldn't have made the list at all because he'd actually been 28 at the time when the article was actually published, and thereby ineligible for the list in the first place. Nelly's representatives were so adamant that the star was actually 22, however, his birth records said something different, as the star was actually 6 years older than what his representatives made him seem. The reason the fib went on for so long without ever being discussed publicly is because Nelly wanted a more youthful image to capture younger listeners, which is actually pretty creepy, more than innocent if you think about it now. Well, it's safe to say if you think your age will never catch up to you, it definitely will at some point. And number 4, Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez once told a white lie about her age, and she even went along with it for a while before she was forced to come clean by circumstances beyond her control. Now, there's no denying that the 53-year-old looks years younger than she actually is. She's pretty ageless, but earlier in her life, she may have been trying to shave off her age to appear younger than she actually was. Today, even certain outlets report that Jennifer was born on July 25th, 1970 instead of July 24th, 1969, which appears to be her actual birthday. Now jump back to her white lie. Jennifer's truth would finally unravel after she tried to claim to be born in 1970 instead of 1969. However, the truth would be revealed that she was born previous year after she was questioned by police about an incident in a Manhattan nightclub with her partner at the time, Puff Daddy. Whatever the situation was, she should have known the truth would come out eventually. And number 3, James Blunt. British songwriter James Blunt was interviewed by Robin Bailey on 97.3 FM to talk about his music, pranks, and aging. Robin would ask Bailey how it felt to be turning the big 4-0, but Blunt wasn't so keen on the questions because it really wasn't on on his radar. After all, he was only just past 30, or is he? Now, according to the popular online in Wikipedia, it stated that Blunt just turned 48 years old, and if you do a little more internet digging, it reveals that James was actually born in 1974, which has led people to believe that he was faking his age. In 2007, it was documented that Blunt was 33 years old. However, in 2010, he would try to claim again that he was 33, which isn't quite how aging works. So he was caught red-handed trying to tell a lie about his age, and no one's really taken him seriously since. At number 2, we have Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg is an accomplished actor, talk show personality, comedian, and author. While she was the first woman to host the Oscars by herself, she has also had a pretty impressive career. Not even her age could limit her stride to become a certified star. In fact, the actor has even admitted to lying about her age at some point in her career. Whoopi has always been inspired to perform in mature roles, which has led her to lie about her actual age. When talking to the Washington Post, when she was 30 years old, she would note her driver's license contained secrets, since it contained her real age of 30 and not the age of 35 at the time, which she had widely publicized to appear older. Whoopi would then go on to say, "I had to lie about my age to get some job." She would then admit at the rise of stardom that the star was on welfare, which played a part in her decision to lie about her age. She added that she had experienced times of housing insecurity and dealing with financial troubles, which is why she sought mature roles. Being 67 now, the actor still has no shame in admitting that she lied about being 5 years older, and I don't blame her. And at number 1 today, we have Eminem. Back in 1999, Eminem would appear on Howard Stern's show, and he would tell the host and the audience that he was actually 24 years old at the time. However, Eminem's white lie would later be revealed as the star wasn't 24 and he was actually 27 years old. Now, fans are still not sure why the Detroit rapper chose to lie about his age, and there's always been many speculations over the years as to why he may have done it. Many have speculated that Eminem simply chose to lie because he wanted to draw in a younger fan base by appearing younger. However, his lie never seemed to damage his career, and the rapper has gone on to release several hit albums since the 1999 interview. Being now 50 years old, Eminem has proved that he isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and every time he decides to grace us with a song, it always seems to soar to the top of the charts, proving that he will always be a rap god and no one will ever replace him anytime soon. At number 10, we have Mia Goth. Mia Goth has been very secretive when it comes to her birthday and her exact age. However, the actor is 29 years old and she still looks like she's 14 years old and was just signed to Store Model Management after being discovered by fashion photographer Gemma Booth in London. When it comes to her beauty routine, the star likes to keep things simple by sticking to the basics and keeping a more natural approach. She also tends to eat very healthy, and she's a strong believer that with skin and beauty, it always starts within. And whether it's rainy or sunny, the star always opts to use sunscreen. Whatever the star seems to be doing, however, has her aging fine, and I definitely want what she's having. At number 9, we have Cher. Cher is 76 years old, however, she still manages to look ageless. Anyone who looks at her wonders if the singer really found the fountain of youth, as she doesn't look a day over 40. In May of 2018, Cher revealed her simple secret to looking eternally young, and it had nothing to do with plastic surgery. Her strict rules include not drinking, smoking, or using substances, and her healthy style of working out and drinking water, with the occasional sneak in of chocolate, makes us wonder if she's actually telling the truth. While the star has admitted to having a facelift, nose job, and dental surgery in 1985, she still continues to deny any recent procedures. And while abstaining from cocktails might seem impossible for some, Cher is definitely onto something because she looks good at 76, and you can't deny that. Hey Peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, then don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. At number 8, we have Gwen Stefani. Went wild back in October when they learned that she just turned 53 years old, with one fan taking to Twitter to say, "Gwen Stefani is either ageless or freeze-dried." It has us all wondering how she's aged so fine and what can we do to look like Gwen Stefani. It's no lie that the singer looks exactly the same as she did in her hollaback girl phase. Luckily for fans, Gwen shared her secret to staying so young back in 2016 when she was riding with James Corden in his carpool karaoke. Gwen would admit that she's always kept her skincare pretty simple in her morning routine, which usually includes a prayer, brushing her teeth, and moisturizing, and she also occasionally will do a little facial massage just so she can decrease any puffiness. At night, the star also will take off her makeup and put moisturizer on. She also lives by one other golden rule, which is always to keep her skin hydrated with face oil. At number 7, we have Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer Aniston still looks like she's 25 and ready to film another episode of Friends. With the star being 53, it makes us wonder if she's ever going to age. Jennifer is known for her flawless skin and timeless beauty. Now, the A-lister does credit her parents, genes, and food recommendations for staying so young. However, she's also stated to stay young, you have to maintain what you have. With the star's obsession with skin health, she recommends using products that contain probiotics as they're known to benefit your skin. She also is known to get a lot of facials from a variety of different facialists and highly recommends exercise and cutting out sugar and bad food from your diet completely. She's also said you need to moisturize and swears by Aveeno's daily moisturizer as she and her mom have been using it for years. Jennifer has also stated that our bodies are like plants and it will thrive if you treat it well, so treat your bodies well. At number 6, we have Shakira. Shakira, at the age of 45, easily looks 15 to 20 years younger, and her appearance hasn't really changed since she was 20. Besides her ability to keep her makeup natural and her glamorous, elegant outfits, we are still wondering what she does to stay so young. Well, it's simple. All you have to do is wear sunscreen and smile. The star has also noted that a good smile shows off confidence and it's really the best makeup. She's also not kidding about the sunscreen. The star uses the highest SPF sunscreen she can find to avoid damaging her skin, and she also applies a vitamin C serum for applying her makeup to nourish her skin, along with lots and lots of moisturizer. It seems like the number one tip today to take away from this is keep your skin moisturized and nourished and you'll stay young forever. At number 5, we have Reese Witherspoon. So Reese Witherspoon swears by a 13-minute skincare routine morning and night, and it's clearly worked because at the age of 46, the star still not only looks ageless but flawless. Reese has said that she uses a gentle cleanser, serums, eye creams, and moisturizers. She's also mentioned that a lot of her serums contain an anti-aging ingredients like vitamin C and hyaluronic acid. As the star has gotten older, she's noticed that her skin's gotten drier and that she has more dark spots, so she pays very close attention to hydration and looks for ingredients to treat dark spots like vitamin C. On top of her skincare routine, the star likes to exercise, eat healthy, and drink plenty of water. She said that staying hydrating and exercise regularly and taking all her makeup off at the end of the day helps her combat aging skin, and she encourages everyone to follow her routine. And number 4 today, we have Christina Aguilera. Christina Aguilera is 41 years old and still somehow manages to leave her fans convinced that she's actually 20 years old. Luckily for Christina, she's shared all her beauty secrets, so if you're blonde and you're a bombshell, you should definitely follow them because she definitely knows what's good. Christina's advice for fellow blondes out there is that it's important to not over dry or overwash your hair. You should always be using Johnson's baby shampoo and a hair mask at least once a week. Keep your hair healthy. And when it comes to the star's skin, she likes to keep it simple as well with Cetaphil gentle skin cleanser, and before she uses it, she likes to remove her makeup with MAC wipes. Despite plastic surgery rumors, it seems like this star has her skin and hair routine sorted, and whatever she's doing is working, so maybe take some notes because I know at one point you all wanted to look like Christina Aguilera. And number 3, we have Dolly Parton. If you Google how old is Dolly Parton, it's going to suggest that the singer is 76 years old. Unfortunately, despite Google's best intentions, there's no way that's true. Just look at her. The star doesn't look a day over 45. And while some of her age defiance can be attributed to self-admitted surgical enhancements, some markers of youth are results of more natural care. In an interview with Refinery29, Dolly would go on to list a handful of brands she uses, and not all of them were expensive, including Olay, which Dolly said she loves. It's kind of a big deal that Dolly would opt to choose Olay over any other big name brand because as the moisturizer only costs as little as $22. That should be an indicator that you don't need to tap into your savings just to invest in youthful skin. And while the star may have shelves and drawers full of every makeup product going, she still opts to go to her old fatefuls. At number 2, we have Jennifer Lopez. From the secrets behind her dewy skin to her tight abs, Jennifer Lopez has shown us that for someone who used to have little, she now has a lot to teach us about aging and style. At the age of 53, Jennifer has taught us 5 lessons about defying beauty. At the launch of her JLo Beauty skincare line, she revealed her family's secret of using olive oil, as it's packed with beneficial fatty acids, antioxidants, and vitamin A, D, E, and K. She would also go on to note that your skincare is only as good as your lifestyle, and there's no point of slapping on endless active creams or olive oil if you're not going to look after your health. JLo has also said, at some point, aging is going to happen, but until then, you just gotta decide how strong you're going to be. And to help fight off any signs of age, JLo lives by the 5 S's, which are sleep. You need at least 8 hours minimum a night. Supplements, apply sunscreen every day, serum, and sano. And if you don't know what sano means, it's a Spanish phrase which means to live a healthy, sane life. To do what JLo does means you need to avoid drinking and smoking, and you need to start eating healthy, exercising, and drinking lots of water. And at number 1 today, we have Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock constantly jokes about her secret to looking ageless at the age of 58, and it's because she sleeps in a sealed container. The actress has equipped her life to avoid outside carcinogens and any substance that might cause harm. However, when it comes to her skincare, she's actually a minimalist. Sandra prefers to keep things minimum with her beauty routine. She uses a face cloth and cream, and in addition to using minimum products, she doesn't devote too much of her time to her routine, as her routine only takes around 8 minutes. She's also admitted that the reason she has no fine lines around her eyes is due to a beauty pageant secret. Apparently, by using hemorrhoid ointment on your face, you can hide those fine lines around your eyes. Who would have thought, but I'm never going to try that. She's also not afraid to try trendy facials like EGF on top of her facials and creams. The star also likes to exfoliate once a week, and she's dedicated to her fitness routine.
Starting us off at number 10, Cameron Diaz. Actress Cameron Diaz had a pretty successful career early on. Her breakout role was in the 1994 film The Mask starring Jim Carrey. She then went on to star in other acclaimed films like My Best Friend's Wedding, Shrek, and Charlie's Angels. Cameron experimented with a lot of different kinds of roles she played, from romantic comedies to dramas to action films. Cameron booked a lot of different roles in the beginning, but things certainly aren't that way anymore. There are a few reasons as to why people think that her career just hasn't aged well and why she stopped working. One reason is that people think that she was actually too successful in her early days and burnt out later down the road. Others think that it was because of her sudden decision to stick to her comfort zone when it comes to roles that broke her, since she used to hop between genres and was a fresh face for many types of films. Over the years, Cameron stuck to comedies and rom-coms, so she became tiresome on camera. Others think that it was the Shrek franchise that really did it in for her. Though the Shrek franchise is just chef's kiss level entertainment, with its spin-off holiday films and musicals. Yes, there was a musical, I was in it in high school, absolutely legendary. Critics believe that because Shrek stuck around for so long, it was hard for Cameron to crawl out of its shadow, and her career was never really able to recover from being Princess Fiona. I mean, if my career ended with Shrek, I think I'd be okay with it. In at number 9, Brad Pitt. Now, this aging might be considered a stretch, but it still counts, so I'm going with it. Sometimes in film and TV, makeup artists and the CGI editors have to make an actor or character look much older than they really are. Sometimes it's a cool transition, and other times the actor ends up looking a little worse for wear in their simulated old age. This is sort of the case with Brad Pitt from The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. In the film about a man who ages backwards, the production team had the task of aging Brad Pitt to make himself older and younger than he really was. Though the production and editing of Brad's older form was very well done and convincing, his actual older looks were questionable. Again, not because the production was bad, just because it made Brad look nearly unrecognizable. At his oldest, Benjamin's character looked sort of like a hairless cat. He was wrinkled and mostly bald and very thin. It's hard to think that a 43-year-old man was under all those special effects. It wasn't his best look, but it was one of his best roles. At number 8, Alicia Silverstone. Alicia Silverstone, known for her lead role in the 1995 film Clueless, began her film career in the mid-90s and continued making hit films for the rest of the decade into the early 2000s. Though her career started off with a bang and she was quickly brought into stardom, her fame didn't really last long, as over the years she's fallen into obscurity. Her first major fumble was from her role as Batgirl in the 1997 film Batman and Robin. She even won a Razzie Award for Worst Supporting Actress. I mean, That's not a good award. Why do they have rewards for worst? That's just rubbing it in. Like, you tried your best. That's not nice. She's been in other productions, but she never quite hit as hard as she did in her early career. Though I don't think this really bothers her much, as she's revealed that she never wanted to be a movie star in the first place, if you can believe it. Alicia said that she was more of a theater nerd and never wanted the level of stardom that she found in her early years. It seems that as the years went on and the hype of her role in Clueless died down, Alicia shied away from the spotlight, resurfacing a few times, but mostly keeping to herself and her personal passions and projects. Coming in at 7, Hayley Atwell. Here's another instance of a celebrity whose on-screen aging didn't do them any favors. Hayley Atwell in her role as Peggy Carter in Captain America: Winter Soldier. In the film, we see Peggy Carter in her late 90s in her hospital bed suffering from Alzheimer's. As she was in her late 90s, obviously her physical appearance looked quite dated. She had silver hair, wrinkles, and age spots on her face and hands, another sign of old age. In the scene where we see Peggy and Steve Rogers interacting, the special effects have the actress looking nothing like her true self and was aged far beyond her years. I mean, for 90 plus, her character was looking well, but she still aged rather badly in regards to her health. As she had Alzheimer's, you could see how Peggy began to fade away as the degenerative disease took hold of her, and as she aged, it got worse. In at 6, Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire's career was at its peak in the 2000s, but suddenly it imploded, leaving him with a bad rep in Hollywood and a less than ideal career. Tobey was made famous for his role as Spider-Man in the Sam Raimi trilogy. At the height of his career, Tobey was bringing the role of Peter Parker to life, making millions, and landing himself among Hollywood's A-list stars. But coming into 2007 and the third Spider-Man film in the series, things began to turn sour for the actor. Firstly, he began demanding more money from the studio. People believed that as he found more fame, his ego got larger as well, and he became more greedy and self-absorbed. Now, even though he was demanding more money, he was doing less work as he struggled with an injury on set, which prompted the need for doctors to be with Tobey at all times while filming. There was only so much that Tobey was able to do, even to the point where his doctors had to map out exactly how many steps Tobey was able to take in a scene. So this extravagant cost to pay both Tobey and his doctors added to the rest of the film's budget and added to its failure as it tanked at the box office when it was released. Obviously, this didn't help Tobey's career, and this combined with his gambling problem and bad attitude towards others, this landed him the name Bully Maguire and ultimately shunned from Hollywood. His career aged poorly with the evolution of his on-screen character as well as his off-screen persona. Halfway through at number 5, Keith Richards. I've seen a lot of sources say that Keith Richards has aged horribly. Some say that it was his rock and roll lifestyle that did it in for him and his looks, and others say that he just lost out in the gene department and that he just wasn't destined to age gracefully. I'm on the fence here. I honestly don't think he looks that bad. I mean, he could definitely look worse. If you watched part 1 of this video, then you remember how I talked about Prince Philip and how he's looking nowadays. It could always be worse. Now, Keith Richards, is he the most graceful ager? No, probably because of his drug usage in his younger rock and roll days. But has he stopped that kind of lifestyle? Yes, and I think he's gonna be fine. Right now he's 76 years old and he's still looking relatively young, so I think he's on the right track. I'd say he's about a 5 on the poor aging scale. Coming in at number 4, Mickey Rourke. Following Keith Richards, we have Mickey Rourke, and although I said that Keith was fine and things could be worse, I'm gonna have to bring this up as one of the worst cases with Mickey here. I wish I could say, oh Mickey, you're so fine, but I can't. He's had a lot of work done over the years to the point that he doesn't even look like himself anymore. At 68 years old, he's looking a little rough, not because he's an old wrinkled mess, but because he tried a little too hard to correct his aging with plastic surgery, and things went wrong. In his early career, he was praised for his baby face and boyish charm, but now, not so much. I think that the lesson we learn from celebrities like this is that sometimes it's just best to let the aging process happen. I mean, you wouldn't stop a fine wine or cheese from aging, would you? No, no way. Just let it happen, babes. It's a beautiful thing. At number 3, Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson has had a tumultuous career to say the least. Mel fell from grace and he fell hard. His career has aged worse than anyone else on this list by a landslide. Not only has he had abuse and assault allegations against him, but he also has a history of anti-Semitism and racial aggressions. His career took a turn for the worse after years of buildup of his poor actions, but after the release of his religious film The Passions of the Christ, he was basically shut out of Hollywood for the remainder of his career. His film was criticized for its violence and anti-Semitic ideals. Because of his negative view by Hollywood executives, he struggled to book individual roles, and this has driven his career into the dirt. The only thing that really seems to be keeping his career intact is his directing. He's directed The Passions of the Christ, obviously, as well as Hacksaw Ridge, and now the sequel to the Passions film. So although he started off strong in the film industry, over time he's gone from hero to zero, and I don't think we will ever see a comeback. Coming in at number 2, Michael J. Fox. I'm including this one because he looked questionable at best. So in another iteration of celebrities who were aged for a role, we have Michael J. Fox from Back to the Future Part 2. In this film, we see Michael's character, Marty McFly, as a 47-year-old man in the year 2015. Now we're not going to talk about the fact that this movie made some wild predictions about how the year 2015 was going to look, because that is a whole other video. We're going to talk about how the makeup department did Michael so dirty when they aged him up. Obviously, McFly's aging was the result of makeup and not special effects, because you can kinda see it in his face, but still, they made the guy look a little funky and not in a good way. They added prosthetics to his forehead and cheeks to give him more defined wrinkles and jowls, and they also receded his hairline, added grayed hairs, and made his eyebrows look the complete opposite of fleeky. Fox, who is now 59 years old in real life, looks much better and even much younger than his 47-year-old self in the film. I hope that back then when they were filming and they got him into his old man getup, that Michael didn't think that he'd actually look like this in the future, because that is so not true. Finally, into number 1, Michael Jackson. I'm sure we are all familiar with Michael Jackson's appearance later in his life. He went from being a good-looking guy with a thick afro to being a thin, pale man with thinning hair and skin. Most of the changes in his appearance were due to his health. His change in complexion was due to his vitiligo, and his thinning hair was due to age as well as chemical relaxing. He also got a lot of plastic surgery done, which didn't really aid in his appearance. The constant alterations done to his face in particular caused his skin to thin and wrinkle, which just added to the cycle of his work. And his infamous nose job changed the proportions of his face, which really made him look even bonier with his thin, pointed nose. He kinda looked like the other mother from Coraline. If you know what I'm talking about, you get it. Over the years, Michael's appearance worsened with age as he tried to correct what time had caused, but really it just worsened its outcomes. The only thing that didn't age poorly about Michael was his musical abilities. Though his appearance and health deteriorated over the years, his talent stayed legendary.